I did not see you there. I did not just set up this whole shot, then, you know, walk out and walk back in with my glass that has flat Diet Coke. Welcome to another writing vlog. So am I a writer? Yes. Have I been writing? No. Did I spend $50 on George Michael and Wham music? Yes, I absolutely did. Despite being unemployed. Please hire me if you are looking for an editor. Just kidding. So writing has been a bit of a transitional moment for me. If you haven't been keeping up with my vlogs or are new to this channel, hello, whoops, this is gonna be a one hell of a ride if you're new to this channel. I took a really long break from writing at the end of November. It was about 6 weeks, and I've slowly, very slowly started to get out of it. I'm in a weird phase in my life where everything is changing and nothing is changing at all. In that time, I'm trying to reconnect with my writing a little bit. I had an incredible 2023 where I wrote so much and it was fantastic. And in 2024, I want to continue doing that, but on like a much smaller scale. So in the last writing vlog, I was drafting my novel Sunless Ground, which is a sequel to my novel Seventh Virtue, which I have an entire video spilling the tea on, which I will link. Ew, that was so 2017 of me spilling the tea on, which I will link in the description if you want to, you know, spill the tea all over yourself. Why did I say that? That sounds so bad. With that said, I haven't worked on it in a couple of days. I've kind of abandoned word counts as a whole. I do know that I'm about 59,000 words into the draft, and that was when I last checked. The last time I wrote was on my phone, and it was before I was scrambling to go to bed, so I actually haven't looked at what I wrote. I had some really great ideas for this particular scene. This is a book that is just for me, by the way. I'm not actually planning on publishing it, so I will literally tell you the whole plot. But at this point, my main character, whose name is Harrison, is about to get his ass broken up with his boyfriend, who's barely his boyfriend.
Because they're in a life or death situation, so it couldn't have been known that they were boyfriends.
But they were technically dating for like the last 4 months.
After having not seen each other for like 2 years because Harrison thought that his boyfriend betrayed him and like did something to his mother.
And like was the reason why his mother ended up disappearing from his life.
When in reality, it actually wasn't true and he was actually framed by his family. And so then his boyfriend was like, actually it wasn't me. And then the boyfriend's sister, who is also the other narrator of this book, is like, yeah, that was not his fault or whatever. So then they end up getting back together.
So yeah, now he's gonna get broken up with, and it's gonna be really funny. For me, I changed the angle on something. We're gonna go on iCloud right now to pull up the last thing that I wrote. So unfortunately, I'm like a PC and Apple user, so it's not very fun in terms of harmonizing the writing process. To get the stuff I write on my phone, I just log into iCloud, and I'm just gonna copy and paste it because there is actually some words, which is really cool. Because, you know, when I write and words end up happening, I'm like, dude, I did not know that that was a thing when you write. Like, you get words? Seventh Virtue. I have an entire video explaining how I organize my writing documents. If you're very curious, I will link it in the description. And here we go. I don't know how many words this is, and I don't care because we're abandoning word counts as a concept this year. So I'm gonna paste it into the document. And if you actually are curious, actually it's a lot more than I thought. When I pasted it and it goes double spaced, I wrote 229 words on my phone in like 2 minutes before I had to go to bed. This is fantastic. I'm gonna take a second to reread it, and we'll come back with the updates on, you know, if it was shit. Something that I haven't done in a while is reread my work as a dramatic audiobook narrator, and I really enjoy doing that. So I actually have a couple of scenes here. So I have one scene that's a flashback. This is for chapter 9 of the book called Safe Place, and I'm going to read the flashback out loud as well as the beginning of this scene, which is, you know, I wrote the rest of it on my phone just to sort of get the full experience. Reading my work aloud, I think, helps a lot in terms of hearing the rhythm, hearing the little intricacies in prose that you can only really tell are there when you do read it aloud. So I've just finished my reread, and I'm actually really happy with what I wrote, especially the bit that I wrote on my phone really recently. I wrote this really kind of cute paragraph, which kind of doesn't start out cute. It literally starts off, Lonan had tried to kill him, but you know, it's not his fault. He didn't mean to. It was like very complicated. I don't need to explain the whole situation right now, okay? Lonan had tried to kill him. Lonan, who despite the impossibilities of his circumstances, still reminds Harrison there are good things in life, and sometimes that good thing is a man who knows how to make daisy chains, and underlines the word love in every poem he reads. So that section is Harrison describing Lonan, and I think it's just so cute that Lonan knows how to make daisy chains and underlines the word love in every poem he reads. Like, I love that for you, King. Like, you deserve that so much. Out of everybody I know, you deserve to underline the word love in poems the most. So the plan from here is just to continue drafting. Speaking of Lonan and love, he's about to show up in this scene and break up with Harrison, so that's gonna be very fun. Again, for me, I may or may not have like a whole new boyfriend lined up relationship for Harrison, and it's gonna be like, ooh, you're supposed to get married in this book because for some reason I was like, ooh, you should get married, and then I ended up giving you like different love interests in this book because apparently I can never write you in a stable relationship. But then like in the next book, like maybe you'll find out that your new boyfriend is actually evil and is like kind of gunning for your boyfriend. And by gunning, I mean like he is obsessed with your old boyfriend. Like how cool is that? Harrison's life is very dramatic in the fantasy books. This is a spin-off of like a literary fiction series, and in the literary fiction series, Harrison is walking around a Walgreens. Like that's the most interesting thing in his life. In this book, he's defying death quite often. Honestly, I make fun of him a lot, but he goes through a lot. So update, but like, why did I write a paragraph in like E? I want to read it for you. I just wrote it a second ago just to sort of like get back into drafting, and then it ended up being good. So here we go. He thinks of buying hot fudge sundaes and walking along Pier 17. He thinks of mutually booing the screen during Psycho 2. He thinks of hands scouring his knuckles and how that is a kiss. He thinks of spatting dish soap at each other during a wine-drunk water fight. He thinks of sun speckling shoulder blades in a fine patina. He thinks of touching a heartbeat in the dark until it's unclear if it's his or yours. Okay. So that's obviously like a really cute, lovey-dovey kind of excerpt. Harrison is thinking about Lonan, and he's like, I'm thinking about all these nice memories while I'm like kind of like dying. Anyways, Lonan is literally about to break up with him, like not long after this. Like I'm playing into, oh no, he's Edward. I was like, I'm playing into the trope, and then I remembered it's literally Edward. He is like breaking up with Harrison because like he doesn't want to hurt him, or like he doesn't want harm to come to him because like everywhere he goes there's always bad things happening, which he doesn't really think about this that much, but also like I can kind of understand because in Lonan's perspective this is probably like the best and only thing he can do for Harrison, because now that his family knows that they're like a thing, which was pretty obvious, so their family's kind of stupid for not figuring that out. Now that they know that it's a thing, it's just gonna be like very easy to use them against each other. With Lonan, he has history of that happening, and something really terrible happened to his previous girlfriend. It was bad for Lonan and for this poor girlfriend who, if you have been following these vlogs for a long time, is Glenn. She has not been a character that's been like a main character at all since like 2018. She showed up a little bit in like Feeding Habits. She's kind of like Lonan's like main sort of plot in Feeding Habits. I'm sort of bringing her back into On This Ground, so that should be quite fun. But yeah, so Lonan has his reasons for the breakup, but also Harrison like literally almost just died. And imagine like you were literally like injured and your boyfriend, who is like the love of your life, comes into the room and is like, hey, we gotta break up. Sorry. God, he's not beating the everyone's gonna hate him allegations. All right, so it's 15 minutes before 11 p.m. and I am just about done my writing session for the night. I ended literally right before the breakup happens because it's kind of awkward. I can't wait to like sort of like get past this part of the book because this part is like gonna be really kind of awkward to choreograph. I'm not very good at like doing big plotty, like actiony kind of heist plots, and that's sort of what needs to happen here. So I'm gonna kind of like bullshit through it and it should be fine. It really doesn't matter. I just need to get to like the next part in Harrison's point of view where Lonan isn't there, the book's starting to move forward. At the same time, like I've been really excited to like get away from this part in Harrison's point of view, like with Lonan there, because Lonan ends up escaping without him. Typical. Right after breaking up with him, oof, worst boyfriend of the year award. I feel bad for him because he really didn't intend for any of that to happen. But however, at the same time, I'm like, oh man, like that's kind of like an end of an era. Been in this sort of plot with Harrison at, you know, Lonan's family's house and like doing this particular thing and like hating his life, and like it's kind of weird to like shift. I'm gonna introduce a new character named Callahan, who's gonna be Harrison's sort of like new love interest. Oops, my bad. I have a lot of very like vivid scene ideas with the two of them that I can actually like give Harrison more agency in, because he really has no agency when Lonan is there, but for reasons Callahan ends up like giving him more agency. Like his presence gives him more agency because there's less secrets, because they don't have to like put on a persona. Well, Harrison doesn't. I'm not saying Callahan is not. Lonan and Harrison were like pretending to like hate each other and be enemies. It was like enemies to lovers, but they're actually lovers the entire time. It was hard to like write them as a couple and like write them kind of even enjoying the other's presence, because they couldn't, just like for safety reasons, like in this situation. I am doing everything that I would love to do, like the most tropey, delicious sort of like relationship circumstances. It's like will they, won't they, but like to the extreme because they just can't. So I'm really excited to introduce Cal as a character and kind of see how he changes Harrison, see how Harrison's mindset changes, and also see how the other characters kind of have to rally to lift Harrison up, because for the amount I make fun of him, he actually does a lot. He carries a lot of the plot. He's like the main character. Reeve is the other main character, but it's always been Harrison's story primarily because, I mean, it just started out as his story 100%. In the first book, he was really supporting everybody. That was his sort of role. Like, and it was weird for him because he's not like a very, at least in his eyes, he was never a caring person. He just kind of got uncaring because of his circumstances, and sort of his generosity comes out. And I think it's going to be really interesting because now everybody else is going to have to take care of him eventually. But for now, the only like allies on his team, because he's in like a bit of a life or death situation at this like literally like the antagonist layer. The only allies he has left are, you know, Callahan, who's going to be introduced as a brand new kind of mystery man. Where did he come from? We don't know. And then Chris, who is Lonan and Reeve's youngest sibling. They're like 16, and Harrison is like really like protective of them because he sees them as a sibling. And so, but Chris also just betrayed him, so it's gonna be kind of fun because like he knows Chris betrayed him but is still very protective of them. And so I'm really excited to see how it kind of goes with Harrison alone. You know, like in Avatar where there's like that Zuko alone episode. I always have like episodes in my books, chapters in my books, moments, subplots in my books where the characters are alone. It's just them stranded. They have to kind of figure out something, and this is like my Zuko alone for Harrison. Reeve already kind of went through her Zuko alone moment. It was quite fast because, you know, she ended up running into a lot more characters a lot quicker. I'm excited to see where this book takes me. Hey, so it's Editing Rachel. I just wanted to do a quick outro to say thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. This video took so long to edit, so if you liked it, I normally never say this, please share it and consider subscribing and liking and commenting and all of those things because I really like how this turned out. But let me know in the comments what you guys are working on. I'd love to chat, but for now I will see you guys in another video. Bye.